Welcome to Seth Vidya Mandir Junior College of Commerce and Science online audio video lecture. This is Alka Chaube explaining new chapter, that is chapter number 15, Structure of Atom and Nuclei. Welcome back students. Let's move on Bohr's atomic model. As you know very well, the Niels Bohr scientist is very famous scientist in physics and chemistry. And the Bohr model has been talked about the structure of atom. And this has happened the miracle in physics when the Bohr's model was invented in the year 1913. As you know very well student, the Thomson model predict that the positive charge occupied all space in atom where the negatively charged particle embedded on it. It means the negative charge particle is attached on positive charge inside of the atom. This prediction has been done by the Thomson model. Then after Rutherford experiment has done the scattering experiment that is very well famous in physics. The Rutherford after that experiment has found that most of the place in atom are empty. And this empty atoms, and at the center the whole mass of the body is concentrated at the center, and the center where the positive charge is present, and this is called nucleus. And the surrounding nucleus, the electrons are present, and this electrons revolving around the nucleus, and when they are revolving around the nucleus in orbit, they reduce their electromagnetic wave. And when they reduce their electromagnetic wave, then their orbit get reduced, and after some time the negatively charged particle entered inside the positive charged particle, and it is going inside of positive charged particle, or in this way the atom get destroyed. This prediction has been done by the Rutherford, but so many scientists is not agree with this, and in that so many scientists, there is a famous scientist, that is Niels Bohr, found that the Rutherford experiment was not as much as correct for the structure of atom. The scientist is not satisfied with this word. When the electrons is revolving, they emit their electromagnetic wave, and after revolution their orbit get reduced. If this happens, as you know students very well, when the electrons get inside of nucleus, you can assume the whole universe cannot be formed. Because as you know very well, the whole universe is formed by the element particles or atoms. So the Niels Bohr is not agree with the Rutherford this assumption after the experiment. That's why Niels Bohr started their experiment. They have derived their three postulates about the structure of atom. So let's move on the first postulate. The first postulate is the electron revolving around the nucleus in circular orbit. The scientist has assumed that at the center the positive charge is present, that is correct, but there is surrounding electron is revolving. And when electron is revolving, the electrons having two forces, and the two forces are equal when the electrons are revolving. When the electrons are revolving towards the nucleus, as you know very well students, here the negative charge and the positive charge. It means attraction happens because of the Coulomb's law. And this is also known as electrostatics force. And you know it very well, like this assumption you can take as like sun is fixed and surrounding the other planets are revolving. And the planets are revolving around the sun because of centripetal force of attraction. And this happens same as the scientist has assumed same concept in atom. When the revolves around surrounding, when the electrons revolving surround the nucleus, it's having centripetal force, it's having electrostatics force. And as you know very well, the centripetal force is nothing but the mv square by r, because when the electrons are revolving, it's having their mass, the mass of electron. When the electrons are revolving, it's having their velocity, and from positive to negative charge, this electron is having radius. So here we are getting centripetal force. And when we are talking about the distance between two positive or negative charge or two same charge by the Coulomb's law, so here we have the formula of the two charges of force, that is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 upon r square. And here the q1 is, we can consider positive charge, q2 we can consider the negative charge. So here the positive and negative charge we can take together. Students, always remember, when we are going for the mathematical expression, we are not supposed to take positive negative sign. Directly we can take the two charges square here and the distance square. So the electrostatics force here we consider 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught E square by R square and here mv square by R. And these two forces are equal when the electrons are revolving around the nucleus. This assumption has done by the first postulate derived by the Boas. Let's move on the second postulate. The second postulate is also related the same, because this is all postulates has been derived on the structure of atoms. And this is what, when the radius of the orbit and electron can only take certain fixed value, such that angular momentum of electron in this orbit is an integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. What does it mean? It means, students, when the electrons are revolving around the nucleus, it's having, here you can see, when the electrons revolve in a fixed orbit, it's having angular momentum. Yes, this is assumption has done by Niels. The Niels has assumed when this electron revolve, it's having their own fixed orbit. And with the help of that fixed orbit, the electrons are revolving their own orbit, own axis, and this orbit having, when the electrons are revolving, it's having angular momentum. And this angular momentum is equal to h upon 2 pi, where h, as you know very well, Planck constant, and the 2 pi is here. So here you can see the L is equal to nh upon 2 pi. It means angular momentum is equal to the integral multiple h upon 2 pi, and the integral, that is n, is nothing but the positive integers 1, 2, 3 and infinity. And here you can see that is L is equal to mvr. As you know very well, when this electron is revolved, it's having mass, it's having velocity, it's having radius. And this mass velocity of radius is equal to nh upon 2 pi. And when the electrons are revolving in fixed orbit, as you know very well, students, it radiates some, when it's revolved in fixed orbit, energy should be constant. This all assumption has been done by the scientist. So in the second postulate, students, we will study in detail with the help of the de Broglie hypothesis. In the next video, I will explain about how these equations are equal, because I have to explain the de Broglie wavelength in the second postulate with the help of this, so we can understand how we are getting an h upon 2 pi in this case. Hope you understand this first and second postulate assumption done by the Boas model. So let's move on the third assumption, that is the third postulate. So as you know very well, when the electron revolving in fixed orbit, its total energy remain constant. Yes. So how this happens? Let's explain you. Here you can see, students, suppose if I am taking the hydrogen atom, and here you can see the hydrogen atom is present. Here I am taking the example of hydrogen atom for the third postulate, because third postulate is talking about an electron can make a transition from one orbit to another orbit, that is lower orbit energy, having the lower orbit energy, and in doing so it emits photon of energy and equal to the difference in its energy into orbit. What does it mean? It means, let us understand this example. Here I consider hydrogen atom. In hydrogen atom, center nucleus is present, and surrounding, here you can see, surrounding electrons are revolved. For the first orbit, we can consider n, that is n, you know it, the positive integer, nh upon 2 pi. The value of n is 1. For the second orbit, the value of n is 2. For the third orbit, the value of n is 3. And when the electrons is revolving their own axis, you can see, when the electrons are revolving their own axis, it's having their fixed energy. Yes. How to get the fixed energy, students, we will study in detail in the next video, but here in assumption we can say this. For example, for the first orbit, here the minus 13.6 electron volt. For the second orbit, minus 3.4 electron volt. And for the third orbit, that is minus 1.5 electron volt. The energy is fixed for each orbit. And here you can see when the transition take from one orbit to another orbit, that is having the lower energy, it's doing so the emits the photon energy is equal to the difference of their energy. It means in the first orbit, when the electron is jumped from first orbit to second orbit, how it's possible? It's possible when we are providing external source of energy. It means when we are hitting the hydrogen atoms, then what happens? When we are hitting the hydrogen atoms, as you know very well, the electron get excited. When the electrons are get excited, the first orbit electron is jump in second orbit. And here we are providing the external energy. Suppose we are giving the photons. So when the electrons are jump from first orbit to second orbit, as you can see here, students, the first orbit, the energy is minus 13.6. The second orbit, energy is minus 3.4. And the third orbit, the energy is minus 1.4. So in which orbit where the energy is maximum? As you can understand, the energy is maximum in the third orbit. That is 1.5. Because in negative, the small number is greater. So here the third orbit, the higher energy, the second orbit is lower, and the first orbit is very lower energy compared to this. So it means when the electrons jump from first orbit to second orbit, when it's experience external photons, it means when the emission of light is passed on hydrogen atom, when the external source of energy is passed on hydrogen atom, when the electron is excited, and when the electron jump from one orbit to another orbit, it absorbs energy. Yes, it absorbed energy, and this energy is nothing but in the form of photons, that is E is equal to h mu. And when the electron jump from lower to higher, lower energy to higher energy, it absorbed energy. And when electrons jump from higher energy to lower energy, it released energy. It means it released photons. And when it is released photons, here you can see the electrons jump from higher orbit to lower orbit. And this is happens, students, when you heat any metallic body, any object, any gases, when you heat, as you know very well, the from lower energy to higher energy, and after the heat process is over, the electron jump from higher energy to lower energy, and at that time the electron radiates the energy, and for when heat become cool, and when the electrons are getting heat, that time the energy get absorbed. This is happens inside of any metallic case, any atoms, any gases, and this is happen in this way. When the electrons getting energy, when it is jump from lower to higher, absorbed energy, and this energy is photons, that is the radiation. And here when it is released the energy, it jump from higher orbit to lower orbit, and this is also released the photon in this time. So here you can see the higher energy to lower energy released, lower to higher absorbed, because energy level is increased here. It released, energy level is decreased. When it is jumped from here to here, energy level increased. When it is jumped from here to here, energy level decreased. Hope you understand this. So this is about the second postulate. So when it is jumped from one orbit to another orbit, there is a difference of energy. And that's why the difference in energy in two orbit, that is the energy radiation, because jump from one orbit to another orbit, the radiation of energy is possible because it's getting the surrounding heat for one orbit to another orbit, it is En or EP orbit in chemistry, as you know very well, and energy of photon E is equal to h mu. So here the E is equal to h mu as it is, and here we can substitute En, the differences of their energy, first orbit, second orbit, and the second orbit energy is greater than first orbit. So here you can see an electron does not radiate energy. This is assumption done by the Niels Bohr, revolving in stable orbit, but so when it is jumped from higher orbit to lower orbit. This whole assumption has done in the second postulate, because in Rutherford, as you know very well, when electron revolved in their orbit, its radiate energy and its orbit decreases, and after some time this electron stick on nucleus, and that time the atom get destroyed. This assumption has done by the Rutherford. But the scientist has assumed when electrons revolving in stable orbit, it does not radiate energy. It radiates energy when it is jumped from one orbit to another orbit, or it released energy when it is jumped from higher orbit to lower orbit. So this is about the postulate of Niels Bohr, students. And this postulate is very famous in physics and chemistry. Yes, this postulate is very famous in physics and chemistry. So you can enjoy this postulate and you can understand this postulate. This is very interesting. And after that, students, we will discuss in detail about the second postulate with the help of de Broglie wavelength. And we will discuss about the Niels Bohr's assumption in physics and chemistry. So thank you, students.